Thank you to Caffeine for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description to try Caffeine for free. Caffeine is a new AI app builder, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works so you can decide if it's worth your time and you should build with it for yourself. We're going to build a bunch of different types of apps in this video, including a memory match game, including a grocery list app and a link in bio app. So you're going to see 3 different use cases of how to use Caffeine and what it's capable of. It can build full stack apps with the backend database and user authentication, and using it gave me some really interesting ideas of how I could extend it and use it in the future. There are a couple of things that make Caffeine really unique compared to other AI app builders. So you're going to want to stick around until the end of the video. So we're going to start by sending a message. I want to build a link in bio site for my company, No Code MBA. So you get a message back saying a new project is live and I'm diving into your request. Please peek at your project list. So here we can see the new project was created. So that's kind of how it works in Caffeine. So you have your kind of main Caffeine chat, and then from there, it'll create new projects on the left side. So we get a message back. It says, great for No Code MBA. What do you want on it? Links to socials, courses, newsletters, custom branding. And would you like me to include a simple analytics dashboard to track link clicks? So I just responded. I said, yes, here's my social media links and newsletter link. Yes, custom branding, and yes, analytics. So then it says, perfect. I'll start creating your link in bio site. And then on the right side, it pops up with a plan, like a spec document. And now it's writing the code. So this is similar to if you've used a tool like Lovable before, except the format is a little bit different. The files here on the top, almost like tabs, which I actually like. It feels a little bit more like almost a web browser. So we can click through to see, okay, this is the spec file, the markdown file. If you've been watching our videos, you know that markdown is the language or the format that AI really likes. So it's cool to see that Caffeine has used Markdown. We can review the Markdown file just to see the plan, which basically just summarizes the chat here. So now the code is being written and the main file, the app file, user queries file. So all of this is being written. And once we have something to demo, I'm going to show that to you. So I just got a message that said the coding was complete. The code has been generated. And now it's deploying the app to the network. So we're on the right side. I can see a message that says the draft is being deployed. So it looks like up on the top, these are basically the steps that it's going through. So it's chatting, the spec, which is the plan that we went over, the code, which it finished, the first version, and then the draft, which I assume we'll be able to review, and then we'll be able to push it live. So here, version 1 is ready for our review. We can open the draft, which I guess we'll open it in a new window. So it's loading here, but we also could view it in the actual Caffeine dashboard. So it looks like it created a logo. There's links to X, YouTube, and the newsletter. So let's just click on this to see if that works. Perfect. So it did link to our X profile. And then there's an admin login, but I guess I would have to log in with my Caffeine account to actually access the admin login. But overall, pretty cool that it was able to create this in like 3 minutes. Something that I noticed about Caffeine, especially compared to other tools, is that it wrote the code very quickly. So it created all of these files. These are a lot of files that it created, and it did it in a lot less time than I've seen other tools do. Now, this is a simpler app, so we're going to do something a little bit more complicated next. So maybe that'll take a little bit longer, but that's just something that I noticed that was cool about Caffeine right off the bat. So then we're back into the chat interface and it's saying it's ready for the review. So we can publish the changes and actually push it live, or we can review or add additional features. So why don't we make some changes to this and see what the editing feature looks like on Caffeine. And then let me know in the comments what you think of Caffeine and if you think this is something you could see yourself using. So I'm starting with a simple change, which is making the main color scheme a blue color. So that's this hex color of 0000FF. It's blue. So, and it actually, it's interesting. The AI knew that that was blue as the primary color. So I'm curious to see how long it takes and what the process is like. So right off the bat, it is building out the app's spec doc. So it must be changing the spec, which I can see here. If I go to the spec documentation, it changed the primary color here to what we requested. And now it's building out the app So it looks like it's going to create like a migration file to update the files. All right, so we have our update and it set the color, and it did make a few changes to the color here. It looks like when I hover, we get that blue, and it also changed this to blue and yellow. So I do like what it did. I think that I kind of wish it made the whole background a little bit more blue or made it a little bit more of the primary color, but overall it still looks good and I like the direction that we're going in. I want to see here in the draft, if I click admin login, what's going to happen. So I'm going to log in with the same login that I did for Caffeine and see if this gives me access to the admin dashboard. If we go to analytics, this I can see total clicks, all-time clicks across all links. So we got to click, and that was the click that I tested. So that did work. That's cool that it was able to track the analytics. I like that feature a lot, that it did that and it all worked correctly. Okay, so then as the final step, we can actually publish our app. We can publish it on a subdomain of Caffeine or use a custom domain. In this case, let's just use a subdomain and publish. And then the right side, we're going to be able to see our live app shortly. And then it'll give us a link as well that we're going to get, which we could potentially put in our socials, for example. And then you would have the live link in bio site done by AI in just a few minutes. And after this, we're going to do another example of an app built out with Caffeine. And this one's going to be a little bit more complicated and show you some more features that Caffeine has available. And here we are on the live site that anyone could access on our live subdomain. So we went from idea to an actual published website with Caffeine. So this is one thing that you can create with Caffeine, and hopefully this is giving you some ideas of what you could create. Again, click the link in the description to go to Caffeine and try this out for yourself for free. But next, we're going to do something a little bit more complicated, so you're going to want to stick around to see what we create next. The next thing I'm going to do is show you the app marketplace that Caffeine has. What's cool about the app marketplace is it lets you start from a template, which I think is kind of the future of where these vibe coding platforms should be going, because there's no reason to necessarily start from scratch for every single app. I think that if you start from a template and clone it, and then iterate on top of it, that's going to save you a lot of time and also give people ideas of what they can create. So of these ideas in the app marketplace, I really like this bio one, which is a collaborative shopping list app. So I'm going to click clone. So we'll start with this app from the marketplace. So right now it's going to start building and deploying our application. Here we are in the bio project. So now on the left side, we can see all the different projects and apps that we have, almost like chats in ChatGPT, but these are apps, which I think is also kind of a cool interface that it has. And also it kind of lends itself to just opening a chat, creating an app, publishing it, like creating these quick, simple apps that you want to create in this interface. And this is also where I think the UI of these vibe coding platforms can really push people to use them in a specific way. And I think that UI is super important for any type of app, but I can even feel it here with using Caffeine, of how it's kind of making me feel like, oh, I'll just open a chat and build an app. All right, so here we are in bio. Again, we can open up these windows to the chat, the spec, and this was, again, from the marketplace. So all this was built out for us. We can quickly review it. So this is a no authentication required. It's open access design. Anyone can create, view, modify shopping lists immediately upon access in the application. So it's very collaborative. There's list management, item catalog system with a pre-populated catalog of 300 plus grocery items. That'll be interesting to check out. Intelligent search functionality. That'll be interesting to test out as well. Shopping list items, list sharing, responsive design, edit modes, backend data storage. So it's a full stack backend, front end, shopping list items, shopping list items. And then all of the kind of logic in the back end, the user interface, design system. So I'm not going to read all of this, but cool that you can go through the full spec to really understand what the app is capable of, especially if you're jumping into a template. You want to know everything that it can do. So we can close the spec. Again, the code, you can go in, you can go to the draft, and then I guess it's going to be draft live. We would have to publish. So let's look at the draft here. And again, this is kind of just showing you as well, like the power of Caffeine. This was built fully on Caffeine. It's a template that is available. So here we have a shopping list. So we can create a new list. Let's say January 13 shopping list. Let's create it. And then in here, we can add new items. So again, this is what I talked about with the pre-populated list. So let's say, although it doesn't, let's say I want to do apples. So apples, there we go, 5. And let's add. So now apples is on our list. We can add one more. Let's say we want to add chicken. So chicken thighs, let's say 2, and we'll add that as well. And I actually like the idea of no authentication, just an app that anyone could access, go in and create a list, share it with other people. Like, it's not like anything here is probably going to be like a privacy issue necessarily, or you would just know that to not put anything as a privacy issue for your shopping list. But yeah, so this was, again, totally built out in Caffeine. So kind of showing you what's possible with the backend database and the front end. So why don't I go ahead and publish, and I'll just say bio test 1, 2, 3. We'll publish now. And I want to see what this looks like published, and then see if I can share a list with someone else and what that process looks like when it's published live. And let's actually test this out. So now we're on the live app. So that's why the list we just created isn't there. That was on the test version. This is on the live version. And this is on a public URL. So once you create a list, it's going to be shown to anyone who opens up this app because there's no authentication in this app. And then we're going to add a new item. Let's do all-purpose flour 1. And we're going to add that. So now we have a shopping list here. You can also clone the list, which is kind of cool. So I can just click that, and it looks like now there should be a second one. So it's the same list, but just cloned. Share feature, when I click it, it opens up basically like the share to text someone or email someone. I'm not going to click it in the video because it's showing personal contacts, but you can click that link, and it was basically giving me the link to copy or directly text someone that shopping list, which I think is pretty cool. And then you can also easily go in and edit the list, delete things, add items. This is also a cool feature as well. And again, this was fully built inside of Caffeine. So this just shows you what's possible here. And then we can also edit all of our lists. If we want to delete the cloned list, we can do that as well. Now, one potential issue I could see is I think I would not allow that feature to edit and delete lists, because if this is a non-authenticated app, I wouldn't want other people to go in and be able to delete lists. I think it should just be, okay, once you create a list, it's there. If you made a mistake or for some reason you don't want to have that list anymore, you should probably just create a new list. So that would be one potential thing I would change about this template. All right, that was really cool. I actually want to do one more template because I want to see other ideas that I actually really like that template. Let's do one more just to show you what's possible here with Caffeine, because it gives you just a really quick look into the cool things that can be built with the Caffeine platform. All right, so for this one, why don't we do something a little bit more fun? So for this one, I'm going to do this memory game. I think this is another cool way to show the different use cases that you could use Caffeine for, which I think also lends itself really well to this like chat. Oh, let me create something. I have this idea. I could see this being really good for kids, for example. So this is going to be a memory game that is in the Caffeine marketplace. And this one will make some changes to customize it for what we want. So I'm going to open the draft here. It's to see what was created. So just a simple memory game. This one does have user authentication. So you have to sign in to track your high score. So this shows you that you can build full stack apps with user authentication and the backend and everything all together in Caffeine. So I logged in. It's asking me for a name. And now we can test it out. It's going to track our moves. And let's get one match here. So there we go, just to show that it works. And then you would have to go through and do everything for the memory game. And then under leaderboard, once we would complete it, there would be a score. And then that's the reason for user authentication. So we'd be able to track people. So this, I think, is also cool. You could create all these little like games. That kind of brings me back to an earlier time on the internet when there were a ton of like Flash games available. And this could be a cool way for you to make a bunch of games, publish them, and maybe put them on a website that people could sign into and then track their scores. And I could see that being a really cool use case. So let's go into the draft here on the right side. And then let's ask for some changes. So I'm going to say I want the memory game to be sports related not animal related. And also change the colors to yellow and black for the theme of the app. Okay, so we have our new version. Now it's sports emojis. The name, it could have changed that, I guess, but I didn't ask for it, so that could be another feature. But let's actually test it out and see what it looks like. So I'll log in so that we can actually play it on the draft. And I like that it has that functionality within the dashboard to log in and come back. That's another thing that I've seen some of these platforms have some issues with, is when you log in on the editor, it causes some issues as opposed to in a new window. So I like that it did that. So it changed the color correctly. And now, yeah, so we've got sports. Okay, so I completed it in 21 moves. Not a great score. But if I go down now, we can see under the leaderboard, 21 moves. And what's cool is that if other people would log in and play this app, their high score would show up as well. So this is something that I think is really cool. You could create versions of Flappy Bird, etc. Like having the high score there makes these games, I think, so much more compelling, and something that actually makes me want to continue doing this and making some of these games to share with my friends and compete together after this video. So that's something that really excites me about Caffeine, and something that I think I'm going to want to keep doing, especially how easy it is to create these inside of the Caffeine platform. Maybe go in, create a game or an app, share it in the comments, and I'll take a look at it and give you some feedback. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more content like this for free, and I'll see you in the next video.